It's toasty. I'm wearing linen. It's supposed to feel cool. Hi everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Magic Monday with Faye. It's Monday, just 7th of July. It's a toasty one. I've been on several calls today with people who are all over, like various parts of the United States, um, as well as Europe, and everyone's in a heat wave. It's almost like globally the climate is changing and getting warmer. I mean, I recognize it's summer, but it's like everyone everywhere is having crazy weather. It's so weird. I made this iced coffee, but then I kind of took too long to come out here and set up because the sunroom's really toasty. That's why I'm sitting back here on this chair and not on my normal poof because it's toasty. So it's only about 25 degrees Celsius in Canada, which honestly is 25 is a lovely temperature. 25, you want to go for a swim, but you're not going to swelter and sweat forever as soon as you get out of the water. So 25 is that's a lovely summer temperature. In our sunroom though, which is all glass, it amplifies, so it's kind of like a greenhouse. So it feels toasty. 25 in Celsius is only about 78 in Fahrenheit. So I recognize that I am a tender Canadian who can't literally take the heat. But you know what? I know what my limitations are, and it is what it is. So, I have not been on here in a while. I have not been super consistent, and yeah, it is what it is, but it's always lovely to be back. As always, if you join me here, it's always really fun for me if you get involved and chat in the comments, if you have questions, or just even let me know you're here, because then I can celebrate you for being here. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's way more fun when people are like, hey, Bae, I'm here. Amazing. Thank you for being here. Then we can have a conversation. Way more fun. Um, let's see what's been going on. So many things. It took me a few weeks actually to recuperate and recover from my time in Iceland, which was amazing. Iceland's super cool. I actually only saw a very small part of it, but the very small part of Iceland that I saw was more than enough to keep me amply busy for a week. So I definitely would like to go back. Have you been to Iceland? Tell me. Were you like me and was like, whatever, it's summer solstice, it'll be warm, and it is not, was not. It was sometimes. It was sunny, but the wind is very cold. And then people were like, well, Bae, you went to Iceland. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, I kind of underestimated the time zone, like the time difference. I was 7 hours behind. And it's like nearly 24-hour sunlight. So that really messed with my circadian rhythms. And I got super tired. And there was just too many cool people, too many amazing conversations, too many adventures. And it made it hard for me to put myself to bed. So I didn't get enough sleep, and then I ended up catching a cold and discovered that having autoimmune conditions means that for someone who's a typically like pretty high energizer bunny energetic person, um, you if you have autoimmune issues and your battery gets worn down, it doesn't recharge as quick as I was used to. So it took me a few weeks to kind of recuperate and recover. I'm here. Pongo's right here. Do you want to see him? It's hot. It's hot for, there we go. It's hot for puppies, guys. It's hot for puppies. We've had an exciting, not in a fun way, exciting week with Pongo. Um, in very exciting news, Pongo caught his first bee on Wednesday. You know, he's been trying for a while, but he did manage to catch one. Had a big puffy lip, looked like a cartoon character, and it was a bee. I saw the stinger and pulled the stinger out. Um, and that is how we discovered that Pongo is dangerously allergic to bee stings. So I don't know why I wouldn't have thought that this was a thing for dogs, like it can be for people, but I've never heard of it before. And so Pongo had an anaphylactic reaction and very nearly expired on Wednesday from his reaction to the bee stings, but thankfully we had our eyes on him, and the good people at the Elk Lake Veterinary Hospital were incredible and took really good care of him. was a couple trips to the vet because he kind of looked okay, so he came home, and then he took another turn for the worse, so we had to go back. Um, but everything is fine. He's okay now, and they don't make dog EpiPens, and if they did, I'm sure they'd be like $1.3 billion. So we know what to give him if he were to be stung by a bee again, and then we have to get him to a vet. Any vet will do, but yeah, so it's just like a thing we have to keep an eye on, and that is tricky because some people were like, "Well, he's probably learned his lesson. He won't mess with those bees anymore." To which I immediately thought, "Oh, my sweet summer child, this kid's gonna mess with bees." Absolutely. And the next morning when he woke up feeling much improved, I was I stood correct that in fact he went out and immediately tried to bite the bees because I think two things. One, bees are exciting. They make a buzzing sound and they fly around, so that's fun to try to catch. Two, I think he did remember that the spicy bee snack hurt him, but he did not put two and two together that the spicy bee snack hurt him, which resulted in him being very, very sick. So I don't think he's made that logical leap, and nor do I think he ever will. So we have to keep a really close eye on him because he can't just eat bees like normal dogs. So anyway, have you ever experienced this? Have you ever heard of a dog having like a dangerous allergy to bees? Tell me, make me feel not alone. Yeah, so that was stressful, but he's okay now. So that happened. Canada Day happened. The 4th of July happened. Last week was just a busy week and handling a lot of things and catching up because I'd been gone. Adam and I take the month of June off every year. So I was coming back from June away and I was really committed to tidying my office. I'm selling I have if you have ever seen the videos of me in my office, I have like a cabinet behind me, a big white cabinet. It's not actually well, I mean, it is a cabinet, but it's a wall bed, so it's like a Murphy bed that you pull down. Really great idea. We really wanted, we have a beautiful home and we love having people here, so we really wanted to have a guest bed. And because we both work from home, we don't have a spare room that we can have people stay in. So the genius idea that I had was to get a wall bed so that we could lower it and have guests stay there. And we put that bed in my office, which was like half of a good idea. Great theory, but the did my sound just cut out? Because I think my phone just thought I was talking to it. So confusing. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can't hear me. Type it in the thing. Hey, I can't hear you. Yeah, so anyway, it really took up like the whole room and was really like I had to move furniture and move my like desk chair out and there's no room to get around the bed. So it really wasn't a great situation. So I finally decided to let go of the bed, which I was really holding on to because we thought we were going to do a renovation, and that's probably several years away now. And I realized that I don't want to have a makeshift office for several years. So getting rid of the bed so that I can, put in better furniture that would help me make my office a more functional office for me. And I'm really excited. So I spent a lot of June in there kind of tidying things up and clearing things. And then once the bed is moved out, then I can get some like cabinets that I could put stuff in. And I'm also really excited. Tell me if this is how you are. Have you ever done like the Marie Kondo's work, the life-changing art, beauty, magic of tidying up? Because I have, and she's not wrong. It feels amazing to let go of stuff. And I have to admit that I acquire a lot of things. I'm a collector. Adam might say hoarder, but I don't think I'm a hoarder. There's maybe a couple things I probably do hoard, but in general, I would say I'm a collector, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of it is poverty trauma, but some of it is just I'm a person who likes beautiful things. So anyway, whilst I collect, there's like two wolves inside of me, and one of them is like a Scandinavian minimalist, and the other wolf is like a French country, English country curio collector. And the two of these wolves are constantly fighting over spaces in my home, which causes Adam no end of stress, but it also causes me stress. So whilst I love my things, they are just things. I'm not like hugely attached to them. But I do love the things that I curate and collect, and it is typically hard for me to let go of them. And again, a bunch of that is childhood stuff, but I've come a long way. And the fun thing is like I now know that it's so satisfying to purge, like go through my closet and purge things and get rid of stuff and make space. And whilst I know I am a collector at heart, I also know that my spirit feels better with clear spaces. So this is a predicament. Can you relate? I feel like many people can. Tell me if you can. So, um, it's kind of like always this push pull for me. And so for me, I've gotten my office to the point of clean, tidy, that is as far as I can get until I get new cabinets so that I can put stuff away in. Oh my God, Jen, yeah, you and I, yep, cut from the same cloth. So like my knickknacks, like my pretty things, and they're not like, they don't, there's not doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be fancy. I just, like I really like cut glass container, that kind of oldie schooly. And I like putting like little flowers in them that I just cut out of my backyard. I have feverfew growing, which I'm pretty sure is a weed, and I just think it's cute and pretty. So I just put that in a little vase and it makes me happy. To have all these little things, and especially if you are a curio lover or small thing collector or book lover. And I will be honest, and Adam somewhere will hopefully in his soul know that I'm saying things that are honest. Just like I can go kind of crazy. So if there's like things that I love, I will I will collect a lot of them. So cookbooks, they feel like potion books. Cookbooks feel like a grimoire. They bring me so much joy. Do you know what? Sometimes on a Friday night, this is how cool I am. I'll go take like 3 cookbooks and I will just go sit with these 3 cookbooks and I'll just go page by page, just looking at recipes and thinking of things I'm going to do with them. I don't necessarily actually make the recipes. I'll then probably close the book and put it on the shelf. But it brings me so much joy. So anyway, there's all these, and it's like books of any sort, truly. And so all these things, we don't want to talk about how many Oracle and Tarot decks I have, because you will think I have a problem. So I think I've said enough. So these things take up a lot of space. So the tricky part for me is that when things are kind of like piled up, when there's clutter, I kind of go into a freeze. Like I literally, my central nervous system gets like into a freeze. Jana, we will get started. You and I are going to go for tea because it is long overdue, and we are going to get started talking on cookbooks and the joy they bring us. I think that's what you're saying. I think you're in my camp. I love them so much. The photography is so beautiful, and like the new ones now with the stories woven through. Cookbooks, I'm telling you, so good, so good. I don't think Adam will ever watch this, so I can tell you that like I'll bring them in and he's kind of like issued a moratorium, but in my defense, I'm like, but I didn't agree to the moratorium, so that's where that is. And so he'll be like, is this a new cookbook? And I will 100% lie because it's just not worth the fight. But I'm also pretty sure that he knows that I'm lying, so it's kind of like a dance that we're in that saves our marriage. Shh. This is not the best example of my integrity, but I'm just being real with you guys. But I love them so much. Anyway, coming back. So look, when there that clutter is around me, I just like freeze and I can't function. And like I literally, it's a childhood thing, you guys. I know of 22 homes that I lived in before I moved out at the age of 22. And those moves weren't like every year on the year. Sometimes there were multiple moves in a year, like 3 moves in a year, all within like mostly within the same like neighborhood that I grew up in. So it's a lot of upheaval and a lot of moving and a lot of packing, a lot of boxes and a lot of stuff. And so yeah, it just overwhelms me and then I can't do anything. So what I'm excited for is to get that bed out of there and then get like proper cabinetry. And I have found pretty things that I'm going to get and kind of take the piles of clutter and then they're all going to go in the cabinets. And then once they're like in a place, then I can actually go through because my central nervous system can like regulate down to like a calm place. And once that happens, then I can go, okay, What can I release and what can I purge? But when my central nervous system is, I keep saying central as if we don't know what nervous system I'm talking about. When my nervous system is like dysregulated and tense because of clutter, which to be fair, I create, like I am literally my own worst enemy here. Um, I'm in like a heightened state. I'm in like a dysregulated state where that doesn't feel great, calm, or safe. And from that place, the traumatized part of me that grew up in poverty can't release things. She holds on. And she holds on because she moved more than 22 times before she was 22, right? That's so I've like learned this about myself and I know what it takes, which is like I need some spaciousness and I need to have a place for things. And once that happens and I have the space and it looks pretty and it looks less cluttered, then I can actually calmly and rationally let go. I can't calmly and rationally do shit if stuff is all over the place. So anyway, stay tuned. It's going to be really pretty. I'm very excited. Um, None of this is what I wanted to talk about today. So thanks for being with me and tell me if you can relate. Are you like Jana and I? Tell us. There's lots of us, Jana. It's not just us. I know there's lots of us. So the thing I wanted to talk about today is a thing that I've noticed driven people do. It's definitely a thing I've noticed that I do. So this is how I know. Which is we have no problem setting goals. We have no problem busting our butts to get there, to get to the goal, and in fact, often at our own expense. Um, that's a good iced. That's a good melted lukewarm iced latte that I made at home. Come to my house, I'll make you good coffee. Um, So yeah, we will set a goal, we'll set an unreasonable goal, and then we will be unreasonable in the relentless pursuit of said goal. Amazing. Love this for us. Love this for driven people. The only problem is that if you've been driven for several decades, then by now you're likely well aware of what the pitfalls of being driven are, which is burnout, stress, dysregulation, the fact that you're never fucking satisfied, etc. Stay tuned. There will be a book coming out about this early in the next year, early in the new year. I believe my book is coming out. I've said this before, but you guys, things are happening. Things are moving and shaking. I'm excited. Get excited. Tell your friends. Everyone buy my book when it's out. I do have a working title, but I'm not supposed to share it yet because it could change. But I love it. I don't think it's gonna change. So, um, the reason I'm talking about this is that I very recently achieved a goal that I set out to achieve like more than 5 years ago. And um, I haven't been sharing it because I'm kind of embarrassed. And that is a weird way to feel when you've achieved a goal. But can anyone in the class tell me why I might be embarrassed to share the goal, like or the achievement? Tell me. I mean, I'm going to tell you anyway, but I'm curious if you're here and listening. And the reason is, drum roll please, because I am embarrassed that it took me so long. I am literally embarrassed that it took me so long to achieve this thing. I know other people who achieved it faster. In fact, I don't know anyone who spent as long achieving the same goal as me. So it's embarrassing. And this is what I wanted to talk about because what a shitty way to feel about an achievement. And I know I'm bearing the lead, so I'm just going to come out and tell you what the achievement is. 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, I wrote my exam after finally passing two evaluated calls with the International Coach Federation, and I achieved my Master Coach credential. And this is a BFD, or big fucking deal, or big freaking deal if you're more polite than I am. The reason it's a big deal is because there are literally God knows how many people calling themselves coaches in the world, and whether they're legitimately coach trained or anything like that at all aside, it's a lot, like a lot. I don't know the number, but it's a lot. You know it's a lot. You fucking there's everywhere. They're everywhere. We're everywhere. I'm so sorry. But we're not all like me. I'm just owning it. And in the whole world and history of coaches, there only have ever been about 2,000 people who've achieved the Master Coach credential. And that's saying something. Like there are like hundreds of thousands of people calling themselves a coach, and very few of them, a very small percentage, have ever achieved this credential. And I am now one of them. So it's just very exciting. And It's so funny because like I said, I've been kind of like hiding that because I'm worried that people will judge me and be like, why did it take her so long? She must really suck. As though the time that it took me to achieve it somehow diminishes the fact that I achieved it. Like, that doesn't make sense. And in fact, I just want to be really clear that literally no other human would I ever hold to this standard. But my survival mechanism, and probably yours too, is not like reasonable when looking at ourselves. And so I'm gonna like back this up a little bit and share some of why I have felt the way I felt. And again, I really think this is a common trait for driven people. And so some of it is because I started this in 2020, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was in the year of our Lord COVID. And I started the process before Adam. So while Adam's been coaching a couple years longer than me, I typically used to um, keep my client roster bigger than his. So I typically worked with more clients, which the only reason that matters is that it meant that I acquired more coaching hours because to get your MCC credential, Master Certified Coach credential, that's a tongue twister. You need to have at least 2,500 coaching hours, which may sound like a lot or a little, I don't know. But I would say it like roughly is going to take you about a decade to acquire those hours. So like that's a good, you've been working on something pretty good. Thanks, Cheryl. Thank you so much. I know, you know what, Cheryl, because you're here, I'll tell you, and I'm probably going to cry, but that's okay. When I went and wrote the exam, so there's multiple parts. You have to work with them. You need to have the hours, first of all, and you have to submit like this lengthy application process. Then you have to have at least 10 hours working with a mentor coach who guides you through getting recordings and getting feedback and mentoring you on what is required for a mentor, like for an MCC credential and what they're looking for. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. Then when you do get 2 calls that your mentor coach passes, you submit those to the International Coach Federation, and then I'm Adam. Then you have like blind adjudication, so 2 separate assessors review them. Da 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 da. And so once you pass those, then you have to go and write a 3-hour exam. So I went like a week and a half ago to write the exam. And the exam is like held in one of those places where everyone's writing different exams, but it's like proctored. There's a human. It's very stressful, actually. Like you can't. I had to take off my Apple Watch and my hair clip in case I like had written answers to a test you can't get answers to. It's very strange. But anyway, when you finish the exam, they like I guess it's scored immediately because it's online. And then so I knew as soon as I left that I had passed the exam, which was exciting because I passed with a pretty good margin. Did I also secretly think I might have been able to do better? Yes, I did. I did. Because again, this is who I am. And as I drove home feeling pretty elated, um, one of the thoughts I had was that my mom's not here, so I can't tell her that I achieved this. Um, and everyone, including myself, has assured me that she already knows, and they're totally right. And it's hard when you can't tell your parents something that you're proud of because uh, even if my mom didn't really understand what I was doing, she was always proud of whatever I did. And there's just something really innate, like it's a really young need and natural need to have your parents be proud of you. So I was like this, driving home, feeling happy, but also kind of sad that I couldn't share with my mom the achievement and have her tell her friends, even though she wouldn't have really, I should have brought Kleenex, wouldn't have really known exactly what she was saying. But anyway, so like that's just a thing that's true for me. Um, it's kind of related to the thing I'm talking about, which is like the ways we diminish our achievements and our wins. And um, I'm gonna give myself some grace for that one because it's just pretty raw. not having my mom be here. So there's a there's just like an empty spot. This isn't going to go in anyone's fridge unless I put it on my own. And that's just tough. That's a new thing for me. And it's not the greatest feeling in the world. It just reminds you that, well, it certainly reminds me that my mom is gone. It reminds me that that doesn't get to happen anymore. And that's not easy. So, um, yeah, so it's exciting, and Adam's made a really big deal, and the people in Iceland that I was on retreat with were really sneaky and held like planned a surprise, and it was really beautiful and really wonderful, and I wasn't expecting it. And Adam and I are going to go out and celebrate my MCC and also his because he's been waiting for me to pass so that we could go. We planned a particular. Oh, thanks, Elf. You guys are all gonna make me cry. I think I just miss her. Yeah, just miss her. It's funny too because it's been like a year, a year and a quarter, I guess, a year and a few months since my mom passed, and people think that you're fine because that you've moved, you look fine, or like they've all moved on, and the reality is like grief doesn't go away. You just get a little better at being able to hold it and hold all of life at the same time. But the reality is that I shouldn't speak for everyone because I can't speak for everyone. But if you know anyone who's lost someone dear to them, this is right there for them. And if they're not like this all the time, it's because that would be a horrible life. And I'm not like this all the time either, but it takes very little to remember uh, the loss. Oh, now I'm a mess. So maybe just check in on your people. Ask them how they're doing, but then ask them how they're really doing because they're probably like this. So, um, yeah, so anyway, Adam and I are going to celebrate. And here are some of the reasons I didn't share it. Like I said, I was embarrassed that it took me so long, and I was embarrassed for many reasons. One, because I started before Adam, and he got his pretty quickly and easily, which really made me feel I'm not super competitive, but sometimes I can be. And I'm more competitive. I'm less likely to compete with another person as I am to like use someone else's success as a way to like kind of compete with myself and determine that I'm losing. And this is something that I've seen driven people do, and I haven't seen every person do, right? So, which is kind of like finding more ways to be hard on ourselves. So that's definitely a thing I did here. And I'll let you know a couple things. So one thing is that I struggled with my PCC. So there's 3 accreditations in the International Coaching Federation, which is the largest global body that like monitors and manages. There's probably a better word for this, coaching in the world. And when I went for the second accreditation, having skipped the first, I I already had the hours, so you can do that. You can skip the first one, but you can't skip any other ones. And so I went for that, and then I made a meal of it. And which what that means is that I am typically someone who makes things hard for myself, and if they're already hard, I'll make them harder, right? So my brain unconsciously is actively always looking to find ways that I don't measure up. And let me tell you, you will not run out of those. So I, struggled my way through getting my PCC, and then when I got it, my mentor coach and another um, leader that I worked with, who's now my coach, had both said at the time that they suspected I would have an easier time getting my MCC because I already coached more in the style of an MCC level coach. And I should tell you, this is embarrassing, that my little squirrel that has 2 different sized eyes and looks like mostly crazy in my head fucking locked onto that and was like, oh, I'll secretly be good at getting my MCC. And didn't that ever mess with me when I was actually trying to get my MCC and didn't just magically get it delivered by a unicorn? Like, would that the ICF didn't knock on my door and say, "Hey, babe, we heard that you're thinking of getting your MCC. We're just granting it to you because you're fucking amazing." It's ridiculous, but this is literally how my brain works, this part of my brain. And so when I didn't get it magically, rishically, super quick, I made that super meaningful. I made it mean that I was a bad coach. I made it mean that everyone was lying and I was shit and I like was embarrassing and all kinds of things that were not nice about myself. And remember, that part of me, the driven part of me, is always looking to find the ways in which I don't measure up, to find the ways that I'm not good enough, so that I can then work really hard on the things about me that are wrong, broken, or not good, and then improve them. And it does all of this so that I am worthy of love. And this is very familiar pattern for me at this point. I'm really clear that that's like kind of the operating system that I developed just based on the essence of who I am and the world and environment that I was born into. It's just how it went. Everyone's is kind of different, but driven people typically have, there'll be someone who people might have said about you, or like you might know people who are driven, and it's like they almost, it feels like they've got something to prove, right? Or like they work harder than anyone, they'll burn themselves out. Like, what are they trying to prove? And what they're trying to prove is that they're lovable ultimately, but they don't know that. They don't know that that's what's driving them. They don't know also that they don't have to prove that they're lovable, right? And so you can, if you're a driven person, you can spend a lot of your life working really hard to prove that you're lovable, which is something you've never needed to prove. And that means you can do that for the rest of your life. So hopefully you figure it out sooner, but it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable being that way. And it's also really uncomfortable to discover this and then change it. So anyway, that was there for me. And then a couple other things happened. My first mentor coach that I was referred to, lots of people have worked with her and she came highly recommended. I had an incredibly negative experience with. I will not name names, but it just, we weren't a match, or I don't know, like what was going on for her. But really early on, she and I had a call review looking at one of my like coaching calls that I had recorded, and her review was, scathing would be a nice word. It was horrible, like really, really traumatizing to get the feedback that she had for me. And it wasn't even accurate. And I even knew that it wasn't accurate at the time. But when you're receiving it, it's really like it's a lot for your nervous system to get that kind of criticism. It was pretty mean, actually, um, to the point that this coach actually realized this the next day and reached out to apologize and explain that she hadn't been feeling well, wasn't feeling like particularly sourced, and realized that she took all of that out on me. So it was lovely that she took responsibility and cleaned up, but the problem was that she did a little damage to me. And it really shook my confidence in me and shook my confidence in what I was trying to do and the process of moving this forward. So that was rough. I completed working with her, not feeling super great, because even though she'd apologized, it was, a little, oh, it's hot. I'm trying to get the hair off my neck. Um, it definitely kind of made me a little bit fearful, a little bit tentative. So then I found a new mentor coach who I've really loved working with. It's been a really great experience. Um, Happy to give recommendations and referrals for anyone who's looking. And we started working, and it actually started pretty good. It started pretty good. The reality was the things I needed to work on, and everyone's going to have to work on something when they're going for their MCC credential. And I was pretty clear what I needed to work on. It wasn't rocket science. Um, and then something happened, but I didn't realize for 18 months that it was impacting this project of mine, which was to get my MCC credential. And here's what happened. In the fall of 2021, Adam and I were pregnant, and we were really excited. And in the first trimester, we lost the pregnancy. And that sucked. I mean, there's just no way around it. Miscarriage is really challenging, and um, it's just a really hard thing. And then we have been trying really ever since, and to no successful outcome, obviously. Um, and about 18 months after that, because I was kind of limping along, intermittently working on my getting my MCC. So I would kind of record some calls and then not bother for a long time and like get feedback, but then take months to respond and really stretch it out. And about a year and a half later, I realized that what was going on for me was that after my pregnancy loss, there was a part of me that was really unwilling to risk trying to do something that I couldn't guarantee the outcome of. So essentially, there was some trauma about failing, which sounds unkind, and I'm not I'm not actually holding that I failed at the pregnancy. Um, a pregnancy failure is, I'm just making sure Pongo's not eating something poisonous. You never know with him. Um, is nobody's fault. And the impact on me was just an unwillingness to try things I couldn't guarantee a win. And so this impacted me for a long time. It took me, like I said, a year and a half. Hi, Maria. Tell me where in the world you are. This is what I always have to ask Maria. Maria, where are you? Um, so that's a large chunk of time, you know? That's what a year and a half. I'd probably already been working on my MCC for like a year or a year and a half. And so suddenly we're 3 years in and I still haven't acquired it, and I have some resistance to going for it that I didn't realize was happening. I wasn't cognizant or conscious of what was going on for me. So then, I got supported and was feeling ready to go after it again. And, maybe kind of intermittently working on it here and there. And then not as committedly as I had been at the beginning. Again, it's like I'd touched the hot stove and I wasn't like really stoked to do it again. No, Maria, I didn't forget, but I just assume you travel. I assume that like maybe you're like, I don't know, living it up in Monaco for a week or something. I just think that you have a fabulous lifestyle. The Netherlands is probably lovely right now. Tell us. It's the best part of summer in the Netherlands. Um, so there I was finally getting back and focused into going for my MCC credential and trucking along, creating some consistency, which is something I can struggle with. It's not something I've always struggled with, but as I've healed some of the stuff that needed healing that caused my driven survival mechanism, it's been a bit of a challenge to find other ways to motivate myself, because some of the parts of me that were like a drill sergeant and could push through discomfort and push through burnout, um, those parts of me aren't super available anymore to move things forward. So it's like, I'm healing and I'm doing stuff and working, but having to find new ways and new places to find the motivation and fuel to move myself towards my goals. So this is like just all part of the thing. And just when I started to kind of get that together is when I found out my mom was sick, right? And in, as we know, a very short amount of time, then I lost my mom. I had the most beautiful 5 months of my life with my mom and then lost her. Um, and that sent me into just a massive tailspin for most of last year. I mean, I wasn't dysfunctional, but I was giving myself a lot of space to grieve and to allow grief to just fully be there so that I could heal and move through it and be with it. Um, so fast forward to the end of the year, and it was actually funny because it turns out I was off for a year. I thought I had to renew my credential and was like, oh man, if I renew my credential and then I get I get calls that pass, because I already had one call that passed. I just needed another one. And so I was like, if I do that, then I've like done this application twice. And so they told me just apply now. And if one call doesn't pass, you can just resubmit and have new calls assessed until you do. So I did that in December, and as I kind of suspected, one of the calls did pass and one of the calls didn't. And I knew the one call would pass. Well, you can't know, but I was pretty sure that one call would pass. The second one, I was like, that's a bit of a Hail Mary. That's a little bit of a hope we get an assessor who likes my style. And so that one didn't pass. Um, and so I have been recording and working on the stuff I need to work on with my mentor coach. Got some more calls, had a couple that were passes, submitted them, they passed, and I just found out literally I was in the airport waiting to fly to Iceland when I found out that my calls had passed. And this is a big deal for me because, again, it was really challenging for me, really exciting that I passed. So all of that is what had gone on. And instead of looking at this like I would with any other human, if any human told me a story like that about what they had been going through and what they had been learning, distinguishing, discerning, and healing about themselves as they went after this goal, I would have so much grace for them, grace, compassion. I would be proud of them. I'd be excited for them. I'd be like, wow. I would be inspired by a story like this from anyone else. I'd be like, that is some fucking commitment and devotion to follow a goal through when you had so many, like, you kind of like got bucked off the horse so many times and you kept getting back on and you kept getting back up. And oh, hi, are you here to say hi to everyone? Pongo, say hi to. Oh, you're saying hi to me. Okay. Those are nice kisses. Pongo, everyone heard that you ate a bee and it almost killed you. I'm not even exaggerating if you weren't here. Pongo almost died. He's allergic to bees. Yeah, so we shouldn't eat the spicy bees. No, we shouldn't. Guys, he's so cute. I love him so much. Okay, love. I love you, but it's way too hot for you to be on my lap. Yeah, so I would be so excited, inspired, and like just in awe of someone who shared a story like that. But when it's my own story, I'm embarrassed. When it's my own story, I make it, the thing that I make meaningful is how long it took me, is how many times I failed, not that I persisted. Not that I brushed myself off over and over and over again when countless people were like, Bae, why even bother? You don't need this credential. Nobody cares if you get this credential. You know that you're a good coach. Like, you have a successful, thriving business. You change people's lives. You literally can see the transformation in people and the lives that they create. You don't need to do this. But I was fixated. Well, no, I wasn't fixated on achieving it because it wasn't just for the sake of the letters. I knew I wanted to do this because coaching as an industry is kind of the wild, wild west. And I am a big fan of learning and growing and developing. And the essence part of the driven nature that I have is one that is just continually open to new possibilities. And so while that can also have me fixate on the destination being the point, the that's my survival mechanism. My survival mechanism tells me that I need to get there in order to da da da, right? This is I need to get an MBA so that people take me seriously. I need to da 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 da, whatever. I need to succeed. I need to be the best so that I'm good enough, so that I'm worthy of love. But from my essence, I just want to see how far I can go. I just want to learn and I want to be the best at this thing as I can be. Not the best in the world. I want to be the best coach I can be. And I want to continue to learn and grow, especially in a field where not everyone holds the work that I do with the same sacred reverence that I do, which the way I hold it is like, this is people entrust me to walk side by side with them in their lives through some of their hardest moments towards the life of their dreams. And that to me is very exciting and a deep honor. And and if that weren't enough to compel me to work on continual improvement and continual growth and development of myself as a coach, like, I'm just already that way. I always want to know how I can improve, not because there's something wrong. Again, my fear tells me that's the story, but my soul tells me, but there's more. There's always more. Not to prove yourself, but because you can. Because while you're still here, you still have time, right? And so these are, sorry, my computer's being weird, shocking. These are like all the things for me that are really meaningful. And so rather than be like, hallelujah, I finally did it. I finally achieved this thing. I've been kind of hiding it. I've been kind of like, well, what if someone's shitty? Like, my survival mechanism is like, I can't believe it took you that long. And you know what? Here's the thing. If someone has that to say, who hurt you, babes? Like, who hurt you? What a shitty thing to say. Like, I can't believe, do you know that you just said that out loud? You know, that's one of those things which is like, that would have nothing to do with me. So this whole long story is really just about one of the, like a real life example of what sometimes it looks like to achieve your goals. It doesn't look like the simple map you drew where point A was where you are and point C was getting there and just B was the space in between. It was a straight line, easy peasy, get it done. That's not always how it looks. Sometimes it looks like you're going backwards or circling or just fucking stuck still in the middle of the ocean. That's what sometimes it really looks like to go after your dreams, to go after your goals and to achieve hard things. And when we achieve hard things, our job isn't to make it look easy. And again, that is part of who I've always been. Like I didn't just choose any kind of dance. I chose ballet, the most physically impossible form of dance in the world. Most unnatural form of dance in the world. It's harder than playing like competitive football, the difference being that competitive footballers don't have to smile and make it look pretty and easy to do the thing they're doing. They're allowed to grunt and make these faces and go like this. Dancers just have to always make it look beautiful. And so there's a part of me that always wants the things I'm doing to be, first of all, really, really hard, and secondly, look really, really easy. And I should make it look easy because I should just succeed right off the bat. And if I don't, that means something about me. And the problem with this is that it really sucks to achieve something and then not allow yourself to celebrate it. It really sucks. It's one of the ways that I manage to make things harder for myself because I'm not allowing myself to get excited about winning. And in fact, like hold myself back and be like, well, hang on, we don't know yet. We don't know until we get that grade that we did well on that test. We don't know, right? So it's a way that I can be quite miserly instead of being generous. I'm miserly with my self acknowledgement, miserly with what it is I'm trying to do, miserly with acknowledging the progress along the way and the acknowledgement of the challenges and obstacles along the way, the reality of how hard something can be. And also, then, if I can acknowledge the real challenges, then I can acknowledge, wow, you really went above and beyond because it wasn't a straight line, it wasn't a flat road. You climbed some walls. There were not steps. I don't even know how you made that leap because there was nothing. There's a good chance you were going to fall into the like gaping alligator mouths in the bottom of the chasm, but you pulled yourself up and you got there, and you might have gotten there with some scratches and bruises, but you got there. And honestly, that for me, when I see anyone else, is going to be way the hell more inspiring. But I won't let myself celebrate that if it's me. I will celebrate the hell out of it if it's someone else. Does this sound familiar? Let me know. So, anyway, this is one of the things that I think driven people do. And in the chapter in my book that's about this, what we're talking about is how driven people change the rules. So, right, so if the if the goal was acquire my master coach credential, then I had a bunch of secret other goals that I wasn't talking about. But those goals look like make it look easy, do it super quick, do it quicker than anyone else, be magically better than anyone else, don't struggle, right? Like all of these things are secret expectations. And then when it's like, oh no, I'm actually struggling, oh no, it's taking me a long time, I start to, instead of acknowledge like, wow, you are going so far above and beyond your original goal to achieve this goal, your growth, the strength, the fortitude that you are building, the endurance, the skill, all of these things that the resilience that you're building as you go after this goal, I'm instead saying the achievement of the goal is going to be diminished by the process by which you achieved it. Terrible. So not only do I diminish myself during the process, like first of all, I set it up to be impossible because of those secret goals, the secret rules by which I have to win, but I then kind of take a poop all over the actual goal itself and I make it so that I can't celebrate that win. I discount the win and I discount the accomplishment and I'll hide it away because it wasn't this magical, quite impossible situation that I dreamed up and didn't tell anyone about. right? And again, I would not do this to any other human, but I absolutely, my survival mechanism will do this to myself, all in a way of trying to protect myself from, I don't know, getting too big for my britches or enjoying life. Honestly, that's really what it boils down to, is that I can't enjoy my life. I can't enjoy the process of going after something because I'm running this story that the way I am and who I am and how long it's taking me, or that I'm finding it a challenge, means that I'm unworthy, means that I'm not good enough, means that I'm unlovable, means that I'm a failure. Instead of actually looking at this as the opposite, which is in fact true. So this is what I think driven people do. And if you have listened this long and you would call yourself a driven person, I'm genuinely curious. Can you identify with any of these? I could give you so many examples of this in my life. So many examples of this in my life. It is endless. And to the fact that Adam was like, I kind of knew it would go this way. I knew getting your MCC would go this way. I hoped that your coach and your mentor coach were right and that you would achieve it easily, because he's like, I do agree. You do already coach like what they're looking for in master certified coaching. But he was like, I'm not surprised because I know what your survival mechanism does. Hey guys, we don't need to fight right now. Thank you. Don't do it. Don't bite your brother. Guess who I'm talking to? It's Pongo. Shocking. So it's familiar. It's easy for me to make. Grimby, just lay down, bud. Is this what having small children is like? They're going to fight again. Just lay down. Look at this old guy. They're going to fight right now that we're watching. Look, Pongo's sneaking up behind him. Where is he? Dogs. I'm telling you guys. Anyway, yeah. So he wasn't wrong. The way I have learned to be, the way I make a meal out of things or make things more of an upsetting, challenging process ended up being true. And the reality is, oh, it's so hard. It's even hard for me to say in this moment. The reality is, if that's the case, then I should be even more proud. I should be even more proud at what I accomplished, not less proud, not hiding it, which is what I've been doing. So that's how it works to be a driven person who's achieving things. And because many things can be true at the same time, I'm excited to share with you that I have achieved this credential. There is no credential past this. So one of the things I'm excited about right now is that from this point forward, I get to develop my own like personal development plan. So there's a lot of different areas that I'd like to learn about and practice and study. I haven't ruled out the idea of getting a PhD at some point because I'd really love to go all the way educationally. And yeah, I'm still going to be working with mentor coaches and getting feedback on my coaches and learning new skills. Guys, Pongo, leave him alone. Pongo, stop. I will just hold him now. He's biting me. Bud, hey, no teeths. No teethies. Don't bite me. We don't bite the people we love. Again, it's like having toddlers. Don't start fights. Yeah, leave him alone. So let me know if you can relate to the dog drama or any of it. Thank you so much for being here today. Let me know in the comments if any of this resonated with you or if you have any questions. As always, I'm here and excited to connect with you. Thank you for being here. Have a magical week, and I'll talk to you really soon. Ciao.